And welcome to my Wednesday live stream. We'll be cleaning a saltwater tank today, so if you have any questions about saltwater or anything in the fish keeping hobby, could be about anything, ask your questions and I'll try and find an answer to them. But I'll be doing saltwater cleaning. And I've let this tank go a little bit longer than I normally do. I think it's been a month and a half since I cleaned it, which is more than you want to let it go. Most people clean them every week to other week, and there are those saltwater setups that are like no maintenance, and they go for years without maintenance because they're fully cycled, and they can withstand that time without getting a water change. Mine, however, has been set up since like July of last year, July 29th of last year. So 10 months the tank has been set up. And it's got one clownfish in it right now. It will have two very soon. And it's pretty dirty right now. It's got a bunch of like calcium salt stuff on the outside. And the glass is nasty and everything. And I forgot to grab an algae scraper before I started the stream. But yeah, we'll be doing a cleaning of that today, which should be very fun. Huh, Smokey? Yeah. And we'll be going until about 6 o'clock when Bob Kaler goes live. And it normally doesn't take me an hour to do my saltwater tank. It probably takes me 15 minutes. About as long as it takes me to do my 60 gallons discus tank. Only because I have to dose it with things. And my other tanks, I can just drain them and fill them. And my guppy tanks, I just add some buffer and then it's done. But yeah, my 60 gallon discus tank and my saltwater tank are the two tanks that take the longest. But like I was saying, it doesn't normally take me an hour to do this type of stuff. But I will be explaining the process of me cleaning the fish tank. I think I did a video about this. I think I posted it too. But I'm going to be explaining what I use, why I use, what's in the fish tank, why I dose these things, and the whole process. And people say saltwater's hard. It can be a heavily debated topic. I wouldn't say it's much harder than freshwater. Really, it's only the water. You just have to buffer the water and have it in buckets. That's all you have to do. That's different from freshwater. And some people do drain the water from their freshwater tanks and age it in a container with things in it. And then they put it back in their tank, which is pretty much what you do with saltwater. You just take the water out of your RODI system, put mixed salt in it, get it to a specific salinity level, which I try and keep mine around 1.025. And then you just let it sit there until you need it, and then you warm it up. In the wintertime, we just set the buckets by the fireplace, and in the summertime, they normally just stay warm. So that's not an issue in the summertime. Well, it's not an issue in the winter, much. But you have to wait for it to heat up, and then it gets too warm, so you gotta let it cool down for a minute. Speaking of temperature, you want to keep your saltwater tank about 78 to 80 degrees. Some people in chat might know this, but if anybody was wondering, I'm just here to teach about saltwater. Yeah, my saltwater tank's on blue right now, and I forgot that my lights go to blue this early. So yeah, I don't know how to change them because it's a program thing and I will probably mess it up. But you can see fairly well in the blue, and I'll be explaining everything. And I think that's all I wanted to say. If anybody has any questions, I would love to answer them. Patty, welcome. Sandy Farrell, welcome. Patty's going to be lurking. Geek Boy, welcome. Dave Farrell, welcome. Sandy D, welcome. So before you start cleaning your fish tank, you want to grab a bucket of salt water. Mine's only a 16-gallon tank, so I'm only using a little bit of water. I'm not sure exactly how much it is. I'd say it's like 3 gallons-ish. And then I have my bucket full of salt water. I have my empty bucket with a siphon tube, just a regular siphon tube, no fancy thing for salt water. It's the same tube we use for fresh water. We just rinse it out. I have a towel for cleaning the tank, and the other stuff I didn't get out. It's right under the fish tank, so I didn't need to prepare it. I have my spray, my glass cleaner spray, and everything I need to dose with and put in the fish tank. And I forgot to get an algae cleaner thing. So let's go grab one. I believe they're under our 75-gallon fish tank. I'll post the link after I'm done grabbing this algae scraper. I'm sure my father would love to come up and just listen to the mouth he hears all day. There we go. And it's just a generic, algae scraper. And you can use pretty much any algae scraper. I have a glass fish tank, so I'm just using one that's for glass and acrylic. I think this is an API. It's the one with a handle. Sorry, I'm holding the laptop sideways. Let me set this down. I have to set my laptop on a ladder. So this is just like a regular API algae scraper. Yet again, we use this for freshwater and saltwater. You want to rinse it really good to make sure there's no things that are caught in there from saltwater that you put in your freshwater tank. And you can use mag float, the ones that stick on the glass, or any stick on the glass ones. You can use little credit cards. You can scrape the algae off. You can use almost any algae scraper as long as it suits the type, like glass or acrylic, the type of material your tank is made out of. Monster Fish Gal, welcome. And yeah, so I got my algae scraper. And I don't really do this big preparation before I clean my tank. I just grab a few things, and if I forget something, I just go in and grab it. But I try to prepare everything so I can stay in front of the camera at all times. Yeah, there are some snails on the glass, and I'll talk about snails real quick. So snails for saltwater, you can do all the research you want. Snails, if you go to your saltwater store, LFS, that keeps saltwater, you can get a variety of snails. If you have a small fish tank, you probably don't want to get turbo snails. They eat algae so quickly, but if your algae doesn't grow quick enough, then they're gonna die. I have margarita snails and astrea snails, and they're just tiny little snails, and they clean the glass, but they don't clean it that much. So I probably have 6 snails in there, and they keep the algae at bay slightly, so they don't run out of food because there's a lot of algae, but they don't graze on it that much. They don't eat that much algae. So if you have a 75-gallon tank, it's nice to have a couple turbo snails in there. And then there's other ones like mysterious snails. They go under the substrate and just keep your sand bed loose. So do conches. I have a conch and a mysterious snail. In my fish tank, there's also sand-sifting starfish. And there's a few other, there's emerald crabs. and those aren't snails, but they will help tremendously with bubble algae and a few other types of algae. They pretty much graze on algae. They'll eat hair algae, but they won't eliminate it. And bubble algae, they're better at keeping that out of sight for the most part. Now I don't have an emerald crab yet. The one I had passed away after quite a few months of having him, so I plan on getting another one sometime. I've been saying I want to get saltwater animals, but I'm just dreading acclimating them. That's the longest part. And if I know we're getting home late from the store, like we did on Monday, we went to our office that has saltwater. We got home late, so I didn't want to get anything saltwater because I was already exhausted, and I had already got fish. I got 2 betas from PetSmart. They're pretty cool. I got 2 coolie loaches from my LSS. And I also got a cool pleco that's going to get huge. It's supposed to get 14 inches. And I think I threw away the receipt. There we go. So I got a coolie loach. I got some rock for the coolie loach. But let me show you what it's called. Whatever you call that. It's an L165 Pleco. But it is gorgeous. And I can't show you any footage right now because it's hiding. Because it's the daytime and they're nocturnal. But I'll try and get a video eventually if I can remember. But it's a really cool Pleco. And that's what I like about Benson's Fish Room, is that you can say hey, can you grab me that Pleco or something, and you could pick a specific fish. And they're healthy. They're overall a great store. That's where I got the coolie loaches too, and they're doing great. All their fish are so healthy. So now I'm actually going to clean the tank after talking. Hold on just a minute. Let me rotate the ladder. There. Like I said, it's on blue, so there's not a whole lot I can do about that. But let me post that link. Like I said 5-10 minutes ago. But it's on blue. There's nothing I can really do about that. So hopefully you can see it. Alright, and like I said, I'll be explaining everything the best of my ability. Okay, so I got the link. Says it's pinned. It should be pinned. Just checking. Yes, it is pinned. Okay, so StreamYard link is pinned. Since I will be explaining and cleaning this tank, if you try and come up on panel, hopefully I actually see you. But first, I just take this small siphon. Oh, I'm not draining that much water, so I didn't get a big siphon, and I never get a larger siphon anyways, because it's such a small tank. But I think this is an Aqueon or something. And normally I would just tilt the lid up all the way, but that is annoying for the camera. But there's so much salt. I don't know if you can see that on the front. So I'm going to wipe that down real quick. And that's just because of all the deposits from the salt. And this tank doesn't evaporate very quickly because it's all sealed in, which is something that I love about the BioCube, is that it doesn't evaporate very quickly. And after a month and a half, I would have thought it would have evaporated pretty quickly. and there would have been a very low water level, but there really isn't. So after I get the lid all wiped down, I'm gonna try and unplug the right plug. Alright, I just unplugged them all. I'm not sure what some of them went to, but hopefully it was nothing important. So now that I got the lid all wiped off, I'm just gonna tilt it up. Hopefully you can see everything okay. And the lid is pretty, I mean the glass is pretty dirty. But that's fine. I'll clean that afterwards. First, I'll just start the siphon. Oh. Mess that up. But when you turn the filter off, I look yellow when the light's on. When you turn the filter off now, all the coral's gonna sink and look all weird. Robert Mulder, welcome. I'm just gonna siphon the sand, and I've probably said this in one of my streams, but I have Carib Sea sand. I'm not sure which kind of sand. It's definitely one of the Aragalive ones, like the coral, the ones for saltwater. That is live sand, supposedly straight from the ocean. And a lot of people are against putting your siphon in the sand fully, but I do it. Anyways, just because there's algae on the sides, and I want to try and get it off. Not that algae is not beneficial, it's just ugly. And it doesn't drain very fast, which is something that's nice about this siphon. It's because I don't want to drain too much water. I'm only draining, like I said, about 3 gallons. Which isn't a lot for a tank that wasn't water changed in like a month. But it's completely fine with me. Because, like I said, it's a fully cycled tank. It's been running for 10 months. And there's only one fish in there, so there's not a whole lot of bioload. So there's not much dirt that's gonna be caused by this fish. Hi. You wanna come show your shirt?
No, I'm in the basement.
Oh, okay.
Laptop is.
Okay. Oh, got it. Basement. Thought he meant like basement, like our basement. Okay, there's my father. He's muted right now, but he's showing, his name's Salty. He's showing the 75 gallon. And he can tell you a little bit about it if you would like to. If this tank wasn't on blue, I'd love to show the coral. But in here I have a zoa, a campfire zoa, I think it's called, and a coral that looks like a tree. It doesn't come with a name. It was just classified as a $10 coral. I have pulsing xenia and then regular xenia. That's all I have right now. I plan on getting another live rock to put here in the front, and then having a nice zoa rock, because zoas are my favorite, and then pulsing xenia would be my second favorite coral. Great supervisor you have there. Oh, you saw my cat. Yeah. That's her. She's just sitting on the desk. She supervises and everything. Anybody does. But yeah, I only have 4 different corals in here. One of the corals, the pulsing xenia, keeps fragging itself, which is good. Because I have a bunch of pieces of pulsing xenia now. Now the xenia, it grows crazy. If my father shows his 26 gallon, there's so much xenia in there. Like, it's crazy. So, that didn't look like a lot, but that's all the water I'm going to drain out. And empty the siphon like you would a regular fish tank. Look at that. She's licking my hand. She's adorable. The light is off on that one. Oh yeah, because it's later. She's a good supervisor. So now that I've drained my water, I'm going to start cleaning the filters. And while I'm cleaning the filter, I realized one of my snails got in the back compartment. That's the only problem with tanks that have compartments in the back, is that snails, most of them, snails can get through. But this is going to stop dripping. That's what it looks like after a month not being cleaned. So, not too bad. It's really only the top that's dirty. The top little square rectangle thing. That's dirty. And that's not really even dirty. But. Hi y'all. Just dropping by to say hi and give my thumbs up. Can't stay, sorry. Well, thanks for coming, Jess. Alright, so if you saw what the cartridge looked like before, that's what it looks like after. It's not big of a difference, except for on the top part. That's the only real difference. And then I'll wipe down the rim. And that's not the only filter part. There's a bunch of media in the middle. I'm just wiping down the lid and the rim. On the inside, because this tank has a feeding hole on the top right here, feeding like a small little lid right there, so I don't have to open the lid to feed the fish. So it got, I don't know why, but it got kind of moldy, and not like real moldy, it's just a little spot of mold. Hi Muppet, welcome to the stream. I'm not being very exciting, sorry if I'm not. Sorry to anybody if I'm not being too exciting. If anybody has any questions, let me know. Okay. So I took off the nozzle. If anybody has a BioCube here, the little nozzle that comes off of the filter, similar to a few other models. I just took that off because it had a bit of algae on it. And I just want to get a really nice clean. Petroman, welcome. No Skechers today. Skechers isn't busy. My sister's at golf right now. I'll show the nozzle in just a minute. There's really no before and after. I can only show the after because when I bring it out of water, you can't see the algae on it. But it's got algae on it, trust me. Then after I'm done cleaning the fish tank, I'll show what I put in it afterwards. And I don't put this stuff in every single time, but if I clean it like once every month, then I definitely add each thing. But if I'm cleaning it every other week, then it's only every certain cleaning that I add certain items, and that probably doesn't make sense. I'll explain it more when the time comes. Skechers is sleeping. Yeah, I bet all she does is sleep. So, I think my sister just got back home. So that's what the nozzle looks like. It's a pretty, yep, they're home. It's a pretty wide thing. And then it just goes right on there. And you can do a deeper cleaning than this. This is what I would say is a deep cleaning. For me, it's a deep cleaning because I haven't cleaned it in a little while. So, and there are cleanings that are better and more in depth and that you do more stuff. If you have a really high-tech system, like with a protein skimmer and a sub, UV sterilizers and all that, it's a little bit more cleaning and a little bit more maintenance with the protein skimmer. But I would say it's fairly easy to clean this tank. Now, I'm not sure what this does. I'm pretty sure it's just an overflow for the middle compartment on the back. But it just looks like that. So, and then there's a whole rack of media. And I'm not sure what brand it's called, but there is like a replacement that you can put in there. Not a BioCube replacement. I'll show the media rack, and there's a different one that you can get instead. And this comes with the tank. This is the one that came with the tank. But there's like a glass one or an acrylic one that has like a sliding panel, and it's real fancy and everything. Dave, my wife is upset with me for setting up the 150 only because we were moving in 2 years to St. Augustine, Florida. She is right. I could not wait. It brings out the kid in me. Yeah. Is it bare bottom? Is it a bare bottom system? If it is, then she shouldn't worry too much. Because that is 2 years away. But right now, I'm rinsing out my carbon. And this is like nothing fancy, just API activated filter carbon and in a reusable media bag. So the same thing you would use for your freshwater tank. So just like that. And now I'm going to pull out the media rack, which is the worst part. Now I don't pull this out at each time. I'd say about every other cleaning. It's my favorite part to do. And like I was saying, this is the media rack. And there are ones that are made of like acrylic that have a sliding panel. And it's fancy. But this is the one that comes with it. And I like this one. And there's legs on the bottom. And underneath that, like in the back compartment, there's biomedia. That's where I put the biomedia. Secam Matrix 55 or 50. 50 or 55. Had a 5 in it somewhere. And that just stays in the bottom. That never gets touched. I have not touched it. And I should clean it every once in a while. In fact, I might take it out. I have never taken it out before. So no Carib Sea sand. Brian, that's what I said. It's 2 years away. And when I get there, I'm buying a 240 gallon tank. Nice. And now these are little, like, poly sponges. What I'm cleaning right now. And they don't get that clean. Polyfill's so much easier because you can buy it by the huge box and just stuff the back of your compartments in whatever tank it is. It could be a Fluval Flex, it could be a BioCube saltwater tank, or it could just be a hang on the back filter. You could stuff it with polyfill and just change it every once in a while. But you can see it comes fairly clean, but it's not the cleanest. And then the middle part of it is where the sponge is. Well, there's a sponge in the top one too, but this one gets the dirtiest. Now, I don't feed my saltwater fish every single day. I feed them every other day. Just that reduces the waste, which allows you to go longer without water changes. If your tank is cycled in seasons for a few months, I'm not recommending that first-time saltwater keepers do that. Well, it's nice to feed them every other day, but not skip water changes. If you ever have ammonia problems, and there's no fish in there, you just let it go, obviously. And if there's fish in there, it's pretty debatable on what you do. Well, for some people. Some people would say, like, take the fish out, which seems a bit overkill. Some people would say take the fish out. Some people would say leave the fish in and don't do water changes. Some people would say leave the fish in and do a bunch of water changes. I guess it depends on what kind of fish you have and how hardy they are. Because I know Caveman Aquatics recommends, like, if you have ammonia problems, don't do water changes. Add, like, Secam stability or something for 7 days. But, and then some people will say, like, do water changes a couple times a day. This is the media rack, all cleaned. And then I'll put the sponge back in the middle. It's quite a cool way of having filtration. And again, filtration for saltwater is it could be an argument. Some people would like to say that you can only have sumps. So I have my little poly sponge and then another coarse sponge. And that's the media rack. The carbon goes on top. And then the overflow. And like I said, I'm going to pull that biomedia out. And see how nasty it is. If I can get it. If I can't get it, I'll give up. Because I'm not too worried about it. Now, it is pretty heavy biomedia because it's not like your regular biomedia, like ceramic rings or something. It's pretty much just rocks. It's a matrix by Secam. Well, that's fine. So look at that. And now this is supposed to be white. Look at that. 10 months, not cleaned it once. And that's how nasty it is. How many different Plecos do you have? Well, we have chocolate bristlenose, long fin albino bristlenose, the L165 that I got, and then a common Pleco. So 4. Pretty sure. Oh man, missed out most of this, so wanted to touch it. Welcome, Ames. So if you saw what that before looked like, now it's not perfectly clean, because I don't want it to be. But that's the after. And you can actually see the biomedia in that, opposed to what you saw before that, which was just pretty much black. Then the rack just goes on top of that. Then my filter carbon goes right there. And then we overflow right on top. And now in this section all the way to the right, my snail got out into that section. So I'm just going to take it out and put it back in the main tank. But there's a sponge back there, but I'm not going to touch that this time. Only because I cleaned so much of the filter. And now, if I missed anybody, hello. If anybody has any questions about saltwater, let me know. You just ordered the Clown Pleco L130. It only gets 3 to 4 inches. I should have it by Friday. Very cool. I'm going to take my algae scraper and just scrape algae like a normal person would. And there's different types of algae. Nothing too fascinating, I guess. Coraline algae is an algae that you want. Some people just call it purple algae. And that's when you know that your tank cycled. And some people go by the rule when your tank has a bunch of purple algae, that's when you can get coral. Now, I didn't wait till I had a bunch of purple algae. I just got coral because I wanted to get coral. But you should. Well, I wouldn't say you should wait because nothing bad happened from me not waiting to get coral. No. It's really just what you want to do. I miss my saltwater aquarium. Saltwater is very cool. It's a very interesting. They have very interesting fish. But I don't like it more than my discus tank. My discus tank. I like my discus tank more than saltwater, but I like my saltwater tank more than my guppy tanks. Stephen P. 2003, welcome. Clean what? Clean what? I don't know what I was talking about when you asked that question. Hold on.
My foot fell asleep. She's asking crushed coral. Look up. Crushed coral.
Crushed coral? Like the substrate? If that's what you're asking. I have some live rock. Maybe it's still alive. It was, but I don't know if salinity and brackish tank to keep it alive. I'm not sure. I know salinity and brackish tank is less than saltwater, but I would say it would have to be like in a saltwater thing. You could still use it in saltwater. It can be dead rock or live rock. If you look at the screen right next to me, the coral, well, the rock that has all the pokey things on it, like almost all the way to the right of the screen, that was dead rock. Now it's live rock. It's now with other rocks in it with high salinity when I cleaned it out. Yes, substrate, crushed coral. What about it? Alright, sorry I clicked the wrong button. But what about crushed coral substrate? Both my tanks have crushed coral. Yeah, the 75 and the 26 gallon both have crushed coral. Mine has regular sand. What's the pink and yellow fish? It is a purple dotty back, I think. That one, that's one right there. The one that's got mainly a yellow body and a purple head. It's a dotty back. It's a dotty back. Do I put substrate crushed coral on the bottom, then live sand? You can use just the crushed coral. If it's like crushed coral that you would get like from Aquarium Co-op or something, I don't know if that's usable for saltwater aquariums. But if it's like Carib Sea crushed coral, you can just put the crushed coral. You don't need live sand, but you can use it like live sand. Well, you can use it and then live sand, or you could do just live sand. So crushed coral, as long as it's like usable for saltwater, and then live sand, you can use those together. You can use those each separate for saltwater. Live rock always helps. Good luck with your new saltwater tank. You're gonna love it. Maybe even try seahorses down the road. They're awesome. Only need a 20 high. Yeah. The only thing that's stopping me, Carib Sea crushed coral. Well, yeah, you can do the Carib Sea crushed coral and then live sand, or you could do just the crushed coral. The only thing that's stopping me from doing seahorses is that they're really sensitive to changes in their water quality. So you really have to keep up with their maintenance. Cool, I know zilch about salt water other than everything bites and stings and the fish are pretty. Yeah. My clownfish always bites me, but there are some nice ones. You can convert guppies and mollies, platies, and swordtails. You can convert all those to saltwater, which I think is pretty cool. You have a 26 bow front. Oh, that's good. That would be cool. Do I have to wash crushed coral? With the Carib Sea stuff, you don't. You don't have to wash it. Olivia F171, welcome. But yeah, we've never washed any substrate for our saltwater tanks because we've gotten all from Carib Sea. and we haven't had to wash it. And we haven't had any problems substrate-wise. If anybody else has any questions, let me know. There's about 15 minutes left of the live stream because Kayla's going live next. Just give them a rinse, but I would go with the live sand and live rock. Since the live sand is in water, do I rinse it? If it's in water, whoa, oh my god. I saw you on the screen. If it's in salt water, you don't have to rinse it. My mother said the water's keeping your sand alive, and it's holding the good bacteria. So if it's in a cycled saltwater tank, here's the cat. If it's in a cycled saltwater tank, I would not rinse it. I would not rinse anything. I wouldn't rinse the crushed coral, not the live sand if it's in salt water. Live rock, if it's new live rock, definitely give that a good rinse. Here's a little rodent. If the live rock, if you buy it new, rinse it. Definitely rinse it. Put it in the sink. Put it in a sink. Fill the sink with water. Rinse it pretty good because that stuff is dusty. But I wouldn't rinse the crushed coral or the live sand. Live sand needs rinsed. Why? What? It's in water. If it's in salt water, it doesn't need to be rinsed. If it's in fresh water, I would rinse it if it's in fresh water, but don't rinse it too well. But if it's in salt water, don't rinse it. Don't rinse the substrate if it's in salt water. Or if you buy it new, don't rinse it when you buy it new. Now, I know a lot of people in chat probably keep fresh water. I have no idea if anybody in chat keeps salt water, but yeah, for fresh water, rinse your substrate. You definitely want to rinse your substrate no matter what you get, but not for salt water. Right now I'm just rinsing down on a substrate. Well, not, oh my god, substrate. Algae off the sides. Name. The hamster's name is Skechers. She makes an appearance on quite a lot of live streams. In a saltwater tank, you want low nitrates, and I also push low nitrates with discus. Yes. Although there are plants that can go in saltwater, which absorb the nitrates, which they need nitrates to grow. How often do you do water changes at 75? You have to ask my parents. But with the larger tanks, the water quality stays. I don't do the water changes, but I would say once a month is suitable because that tank has been cycling for years. We haven't had it for years, but the guy before us had it for years. But once a month is more than suitable. Carib Sea, irregular, 20 pound, Fiji pink sand. Fiji pink sand is awesome. But yeah, don't rinse it. Crushed coral for the aquarium? Yeah, you don't need to rinse that either. Do you use RODI for water changes? Yes. RODI and then Instant Ocean marine salt. I think it's just called marine salt. It's the purple box. We just buy it by the box. My 4-inch discus started laying eggs, but they are still too young. Aw, that's awesome. But yeah, Ames, that substrate will make your tank pretty cloudy, but that's completely normal. But yeah, don't rinse it. anybody else has any more questions, let me know. My tap has 2 parts per million phosphates, 7 kH. Oh, someone's trying to come up. It's my father. Hold on, just a minute. Hold on. My tap has no GH, and not sure it's suitable for salt without RODI. Not the phosphates. The phosphates will start causing hair algae and other mysterious algae. You don't want phosphates in your tank. I test for phosphates almost every single time that I'm testing the tank. There's no phosphates, but phosphates and nitrates together, they form a nice algae gang. So, yeah. Okay. I'm gonna let. Okay. My father's showing some of the fish in the 75 right now. But yeah, if anybody else has any other questions, let me know. We might have to go a little bit longer than 1 hour. I'm just using a credit card to get off the harder algae. At least the front and the right side has to be cleaned off. The way I start up a new saltwater aquarium, I use sand or a mixed sand coral, more live rock in the back, which is also a natural filter. I add 2 raw shrimp, leave it run for 1 to 2 months, walk away. Yeah, that's the smart way to cycle it. I cycle mine by just using liquid ammonia, and you can cycle it with fish in it too. Natural filter, yeah. I mean, you can use pebbles. If you got large enough rocks, you can use that. Anything that can grow bacteria on it and that can catch stuff works as a great filter. Now, if you have like larger rocks, something like that, put them in a reusable filter bag and that will work. I'll stick with my planted tanks. Phosphates are a free fertilizer. Yep. RODI water. Some people have used distilled water. I've seen people use distilled water like by the gallon at the store. I don't want babies. These are the babies from the last batch. The baby discs are awesome. B&D Crafts and More, welcome. Then test your water and water change. Never rush it. You rush it, it's going to cost you more in the long run. Yeah, I cycled mine. It took about a month and a half-ish until I got the fish in. But I tested it. Do not test it every single day like I did. Like I set up the fish tank, and I tested it the same day I set it up. I tested it every single day. Sometimes I test it twice a day, and that's such a waste of my test kits. And now I have not tested a tank in well over a month, maybe even 2 months, and I'm dying to test tanks. Well, I did test my discus tank not too long ago. So did my father. I have to test the saltwater tanks out in our dining room sometime. I like the Eheim heaters. That's what I use. Yes, I have an Oase filter. Oase filter on the back there. It worked well, even with the horrible mistake I did.
Can you hear me?
What I did was I let my tank go, and it wasn't too long. My father's having a disco there. But I let my tank go a little bit too long, and it started evaporating pretty quickly.
Look at that. Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
It's a baby Necerius.
Baby Necerius? Seriously?
Seriously.
Seriously?
Seriously.
Seriously?
No.
No. What? It's a snail that lost its shell.
No? Pretty sure
No?
it's in this area now.
Pick it up in your hand.
No. Look, it's Hermie the crab. He's out.
That's the emerald crab I was talking about earlier. But like I was saying, I let my tank go for too long and it evaporated. And the water was so low that it was just like halfway down the pump. And my heater was fully out of water and it was on still. But it still works. So waste filters are pretty nice. Do I need to get phosphate testing? Is it liquid like API? I use API phosphate tester. If you're using RODI water, it's not a priority to get the phosphate right away. If you start seeing hair algae, I would get a phosphate tester. Just an API saltwater test kit, and I have a API Reef Master test kit as well, because with coral you want to test like calcium, magnesium, which doesn't come in the Reef test kit, and alkalinity and everything like that. Mr. Manifesto, howdy. I have a Tidal 55 filter. Will sponge have and bio bead? We'll have sponge and bio bead. Cool. That's what my father has on his 26 gallon. Patrick Hardy, Brianne, I saw your video. Please slow down. I almost had a panic attack. Be careful. What? Which video?
No, slow down. Your mouth.
My
You're
mouth?
going quick. You're going quickly. But you only have a couple minutes above.
Was it my last video? Was it that really long video that you're talking about? I don't know what video you're talking about. Is it like my last one? If so, I have no idea. Half of the things I did in that video. Brian, Mr. Manifesto needs to be blue. He's not a mod? Seriously? Hold on. Wow.
Everything goes downhill now.
What? Oh,
You
Mr.
can't
Manifesto mod? What? I'm pretty sure Terry's a mod.
I can never get the royal grandmother on, or grandma on video.
Gorama.
She hides.
It's such a cool fish. But yeah, she hides a lot.
Oh,
Hold on.
Patrick liked the other one. I wanted to show him this one. she
Mr.
won't come out.
Manifesto, you are now a mod. Phosphates is in API Saltwater Test Kit. No, it's in the Reef Master Test Kit. I have the Saltwater Master Test Kit, which...
Oh. Now I know what he's talking about.
Darn it, I grabbed the Reef one. Hold on. This one doesn't have a thing on it, but it tests for high range pH, which you want your pH to be like 8.3, ammonia, nitrite, and nitrate. That's what the saltwater one tests for. And you can use that for freshwater too, but. And then the Reef Master Test Kit tests for calcium carbonate hardness, which is alkalinity, phosphate, and nitrate. So you will want to get a magnesium test kit. Yes, like I'm falling, I can't get up. Oh, gotcha. Mr. Manifesto is one of the best mods on YouTube. He is. I'm never on the YouTube side of this. I always am on StreamYard. So, I can never see who's mod.
I'm going to take my laptop down.
Okay.
I think.
How's your fish room coming along, Dave? It's getting there. Just 2 more racks to go. 2 more racks. One's a 10-gallon and one's a 20 long rack. But it's almost done. And now you can put your input on that. If you
Oops, I forgot I was still unmodded or unmuted. Thought maybe the corals will do well.
If you went downstairs, you could show your little cichlid babies. And then you could show your carbensis about to breed.
Okay. I'll show it real quick because Bob Kaler's going live in a minute.
Yeah.
I want to go over him.
I'm sure he wouldn't get too mad, but I don't want to run over him. At least no more than a few minutes.
They'll probably all hide in the back right now. And of course you can't zoom in. These are the cichlid, blue cobalts, I think.
Something zebra.
They're little.
Oh, AIMS. So Reef Test Kit and Magnesium Testing. Yes, those two. And then if you don't have a Freshwater Master Test Kit, then you want to get a Saltwater Master Test Kit. If you do have a Freshwater Master Test Kit, you can use that for saltwater, but you'll want to get a high range pH test kit too. So it's a lot of testing if you want to do coral, but it's fun.
Show you the lights are off. Is there a block in there? Cave in. She's about to ready to have babies. Camera shy.
She's built quite a mountain there.
Guys like to hide behind a filter. They're starting to venture a little bit, so maybe they will.
Ames said Freshwater Test Kit, High Range pH Kit 2. Alright, then all you'll need is a Reef Master Test Kit and a Magnesium Test Kit. But the important thing is, if you're going to get the test kits, you have to get the doses. You don't have to, but if you're going to test something and you see that it's off and you don't have the dosing to it, then you're just testing for pretty much no reason except for, oh, my tank's messed up. So that's what I did when I got into saltwater. I'm like, well, if I'm going to get these test kits, I better get the doses for them too. So if it's off, I can fix it instead of just knowing that it's off. Dosing, yeah, I'm gonna do that in just a minute. My quote-unquote routine dosing, just what I do whenever, like every time I dose a couple things, and then like every other time I'll dose those things that I dose. It's so complicated to explain, but I dose certain things, and then I dose certain things every other time. And I'll show that in just a minute. Because this is one of the times that I'm dosing everything. And I'm so sorry, I'm such a confusing person.
The angels are sandies. They came from Epling Creek Aquatics. And the cribs we got from Maine's Tails Fur and Fins.
Yes. Okay, dosing time before Bob Kaler gets upset. Okay.
There's a glare on it.
Closing the lid.
She don't want them by her babies or by her nest.
I still have to clean the glass better, but what dosing what do I need to get? Okay. So this isn't dosing, this one. And I'm not using it right now, but a drip acclimator is how you acclimate your saltwater fish, so you'll probably want that. But first thing that I add is Secam Reef Fusion 1 and Fusion 2. They look like that. I got these off of Amazon. And there's also larger jugs for cheaper on like bulkreefsupply.com. It's just a calcium and carbonate alkalinity dosing, like a 2-part dose for them. And I don't test it before I dose. I just dose every time. Because with coral, calcium is absorbed, taken in, used up 4 times faster than alkalinity. So I don't measure it either. You probably should. It's 1 milliliter, I think. But I just pour a little bit in because I've been dosing this for so long. It lasts a good long time. Doesn't say how many gallons it treats because
That's the mama to the babies, but
it's more
it's
about
hiding.
like, oh, my tank is off. I gotta add that. But that little puff of whiteness, that's the alkalinity. So first things first, calcium and alkalinity. So, and not just Secam. You don't have to use Secam. That's just what I've been using. I have liquid calcium. Yep, and then alkalinity. Next, now I don't know if this does anything. It's good for the coral. It's a trace element supplement for reef and marine aquariums. It biologically replenishes trace elements found in the wild. But that's not key to the stuff found in the wild. It just replenishes trace, things that you need. And this was on sale on Amazon, so I got a huge bottle, and I already had this small bottle. But it's Kent Marine Essential Elements. That's what it's called. And it lasts a good while. I've been using this each water change, and I am not even halfway done with a tiny little 8.7 ounce bottle. But I think it was like $8 for a huge bottle. So very nice. Brand Kent Marine. It's probably behind on YouTube, but Kent Marine. That's all it says. The next one, Secam Reef Plus Concentrated Vitamin and Amino Acid Supplement. Now this stuff, yet again, I don't know if it's done anything. I haven't experimented with it. I would love to do experiments with it, like a tank that doesn't have this stuff and then a tank that does have it. I don't test for amino acid. I just dose it. It says once or twice a week, I think. Twice a week or is required to maintain coral growth. I add this in and my corals are lovely. And like I said, It's Secam Reef Plus. It's a red bottle. And I just pour a little bit in. It doesn't require that much. So that's 4 things so far. And when you're starting up your tank, or if it's not fully purple like mine is, you'll want show again Secam what? Secam Reef Plus. And then, if you have that down, I know plenty of people have went over to Bob Kaler's, and I feel terrible for running over him. But I just need a few more minutes. That's all. That's all I ask. So if you're ready for the next one, second one, well, 5th one. I don't dose this every single time. I don't dose alkalinity every single time. I dose alkalinity every other time, and calcium every time. Like I said, calcium is absorbed 4 times faster, so you want to dose that more. And then, Instant Ocean Reef Accelerator All-in-One Reef Supplement. Now I'm not going to add it this time, only because the purple growth has started. Now I would use something like Purple Up or some other purple algae or Coraline Algae accelerators to continue the growth of the purple coral. And this just starts the growth of the coral, and this also restores calcium and trace elements. So this isn't really essential, it's just something that I use and have found interesting. And my little nefarious snails coming up. Let me see if there's anything else I would recommend. Oh, I don't know if this is it. Oh, okay. Secam Marine Buffer. This stuff is great. Before your tank is done or while your tank is going, you don't want your pH to drop too much. And there's no real natural way that I've found. There might be some, you can Google that, to raise your pH naturally. But that's what I have used. This stuff works really nicely. And I cycled my tank with an ammonium chloride solution, Dr. Tim's Aquatics. And you can cycle it with food or whatever. But that's just what I used. And I don't know if there's anything else. I have a whole list. I wrote like a whole list of stuff. I have it on a document. So I think that's all I would say. Yeah. Oh, I want to say if my mother's watching, those cute little guppies there, the 2 new ones, I think they're deformed, which is exciting. I don't know if you look
Yeah, I
at them
said
right
that the
now,
other day.
Yeah, I didn't know if you did or not, but the backs, like, they're kind of like bent up. Maybe that will like even out, because I know one of my baby guppies kind of looked like it was bent up, but then it eventually kind of evened out. You cycled with ammonia for saltwater, didn't kill live sand? Nope. And it was very little. It was a couple drops. Yeah, I can email you the document, Ames. Yeah, it didn't kill live sand. My live sand's still going. I don't know what makes live sand live sand. I guess it just has bacteria in it, but that doesn't mean you skip the cycle of your tank. You still cycle your tank. So I don't know what makes it live. I don't know if you can kill it, but Ammonia did not kill my live substrate. My live sand, I should say. That's pretty much all I do. I'll shake out the rocks once in a while because I do get some sand in them. And I don't want it irritating any of the corals. And another thing you'll want to get is a hydrometer, maybe a hydrometer if you'd like. You can get a Hanna salinity and temperature checker. Salinity and temperature checker? Holy cow. Checker. And then I have a portable refractometer. This one is the one I've been using, and I like it. You can probably find this on Amazon. And, I mean, I guess if you want to know how to use it, it's not like it is testing your water, but it's probably the easiest test you'll do because you don't put the stuff in test tubes and then you gotta go clean the test tubes, shake it and everything. You just go like this. Take your refractometer, flip the little flap open, take a pipette, dip it in your tank, and you don't even need that much. You only need a drop. There we go. Put the rest back in the tank. Close this. And find a light. Look into it. And kind of match up the lines. And you probably won't see this, but it's worth a shot. Nope. Darn it. But you just look through it. Close one eye. And there'll be like a 1.020 and then up to 1.030. My line's right in between it, which is perfect. 1.023. Well, 25 is which is ideal. You can go from 1.023 to 1.027. Purple what? Purple what? Oh, did I say something about purple up? Because I used the Reef accelerator. And then since I've already gotten the growth of the purple algae, I'd be using something like purple up. And that stuff helps grow your coral, increases the level of calcium, and trace elements. So it's a nice dose to have too, but that's not what I'm using today. 1.025. Yes, that's what my tank is at. You can go from 1.025 to 1.027 to 8-ish. But 1.025 is probably like the sweet spot. That's what you want to aim for, so to speak. I'll give it like a minute or two if you have any more questions about saltwater. If I can think of anything, I can let you know. But from here, I just wipe down the glass. And this rag is wet, so it's not going to clean it very well. But and then I do have API safe and easy glass cleaner stuff. And that stuff works great. Oh, thank you. You are great. God sent you today to me. Thank you, universe. Yeah, and 5-gallon buckets are nice too. 5-gallon buckets in a siphon. And you'll want your salt and our own water. But if I think of anything else, I can let you know. Yeah. That's all I can think of. But definitely research on cleanup crews for saltwater tanks. I can actually put a link, hopefully put a link in chat to an article that I used.
Well, you can check out Jay Aquariums. And I can't think of the
Yeah,
other one.
Jane Aquariums breeds clownfish. But hopefully that link went through to YouTube. But that's establishing a cleanup crew, and that, like, read it through. Such a good article. And then also, last thing before Bob Kaler gets real mad.
Yeah, I'm over to Bob's.
That's
Someone
fine.
no. Oops.
This is a magazine that I would definitely look at. Tropical Fish Hobbyist magazine. Really nice magazine. And then an aquarium maintenance notebook. Those are two good things. But yes, now we're all going to go over to Bob with, I don't know, hashtag saltwater, I guess. But thank you for coming, and sorry for running over Bob. But if you'd like to, you can do hashtag sorry we ran over you. But thank you for coming.